Nō mai, haere mai, welcome. I'm Bruce Munro. And with me is International Relations Specialist Professor Robert Patman. And this is Global Insight. Hungary's long-term leader, Viktor Orbán, has been defeated after 16 years in power. What will the ripple effects be of the ousting of this populist Eurosceptic who had the support of Donald Trump and other conservative European leaders? Welcome, Robert.
Morena, Bruce. Thank you.
What does Orbán's toppling mean for populism worldwide?
Well, I think it's certainly a blow for what I would call international populism. And it's important to establish that populism has been on the rise for about the last decade. And it's not confined to Hungary, but Mr. Orbán, as one American observer put it, he was Trump before Trump actually got into office. Orbán had been there 16 years, he was 2010, and he took a series of measures. For example, he began to take over the media. He began to seriously intrude in university life. He took a series of measures which compromised the rule of law. And so he had established what might be described as an illiberal democracy. But as the last election testifies, there are limits to how far Mr. Orbán was able to extend his rule. I think there was an expectation that since it was not a fair and free election in the sense that the opposition parties didn't get the same amount of airtime, that Mr. Orbán had set things up in his favour. But it was the vote was very high, 79%, and a lot of young people voted, and that seemed to have been a crucial ingredient. So what does it show? I think it shows that illiberal democracy is not invulnerable, and also it shows that, coming back to sort of what I call bread and butter politics, if you can't deliver on the economic front, then it may be that offsets quite significantly any advantages you have by extending your control over the media. At the end of the day, many people's voting intention seems to be dictated by the resources available to them, and he was certainly unable to get the economy moving.
How could the election of Peter Magyar, the new Hungarian Prime Minister, how could that affect the Ukraine-Russia conflict?
I think it's going to have significant effects, both in Hungary's relations with the EU and by extension with Ukraine. It's no secret that Orbán has been vetoing and blocking a huge 90 billion euros loan for Hungary, which has caused the European leadership in the Commission, led by Ursula von der Leyen, to be very frustrated with Hungary. Peter Magyar, who is the head of this centre-right grouping, TISA, they have indicated that they will be not be exercising the veto. And so I think what you can see is not only a warming of relations between Hungary and the EU, but also increased support for Ukraine at a time when Mr. Putin's fortunes in the war are waning. So it's bad news for Mr. Putin. I mean, Orbán was a key ally. He often, so much so that the European Commission suspected that the Orbán government was passing on confidential information to the Kremlin leadership. And it also said that after the election, the result was, once Mr. Orbán conceded, his foreign minister spent much of the weekend in offices burning documents and destroying them, which probably showed the links to the Kremlin. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big blow and has direct ramifications for the outcome in the Ukraine war.
What about the other major conflict going on? Will the defeat of Orbán have any impact on the Middle East conflict?
Not directly, but indirectly. Mr. Orbán was the last line of defence for Mr. Netanyahu in the EU. He was a great supporter of Netanyahu's Israel. They're both far-right politicians, and Mr. Netanyahu also plays the populist card to some extent. And I think this is a blow to the international network of populists who are currently led by Mr. Trump. It was interesting that J.D. Vance campaigned, or at least express full solidarity with Viktor Orbán. So I think this is for the Kremlin in particular, this is the latest in a long line of reverses they've had. They lost their leadership. They lost an ally in President Assad in Syria. We also saw the head of Venezuela toppled and detained in the United States, and Venezuela had good terms with the Kremlin. And now we've seen another key ally of Mr. Putin bite the dust, so to speak. So this is a succession of reverses. But yeah, I do think this is a significant development.
And what does it mean for us here in New Zealand, thinking about how we play our role in the world? Does it give us any courage to deal with things differently, or how do you think we should be responding in light of this?
Well, I think, first of all, I think it's breathed new life into those who've been concerned about democratic backsliding. There's been a lot of populist politicians in the world, and we've got one or two of them here, who like to play fast and loose with the truth and basically show scant regard for the rule of law. And those forces, what we're seeing here has been an international network of solidarity. So we've got one or two leaders, particularly in the minor parties, who tend to be pro-Trump and pro-Orbán probably. And they present themselves as anti-establishment and suspicious of experts, and they polarise society. And I think Orbán's defeat will give sort of fresh momentum to those who do believe not only in a rules-based society but in a rules-based world to some degree. Mr. Orbán had aligned himself with leaders like Putin and Trump, both of which are acting internationally in a way that's not in New Zealand's interests. We're a small country, we depend on rules, and at the moment we have very powerful countries such as Russia and the United States in particular, the most powerful country in the world, which are acting with scant regard for international law. I mean, Mr. Trump doesn't make any bones about it. He said that he will not be constrained by international law. The only thing that he constrains him, he said, is his sense of morality. So I don't know if that's any consolation. It depends on your political perspective. But I do think, how does it affect us in New Zealand? I have a sense it won't be an immediate effect, but it may alter the terms of debate domestically. We've seen a lot of conspiracy theories recently, particularly over the COVID period, and we've seen a lot of finger pointing. And we've also seen, unfortunately, more polarisation within New Zealand. And I think those who believe in a rules-based democracy may feel this is a big boost and a chance to, fulfil that vision.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.